Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and today we're going to rank all of the LGBTQ plus films I saw in 2018. This is a category I've never actually ranked here on my channel in the past, mostly because I see the odd couple every year. There's an indie or two that seems to come out every year. But this year, as I was progressing through the year, it just seemed to really accumulate up to a lot of films. So how did I qualify what is considered LGBTQ plus for this ranking? Well, it was pretty simple. Obviously, if it explicitly focuses on an LGBTQ plus issue, then it's in. Whether that be coming out or dealing with your sexuality, if the sexuality is part of the overall messaging, the plot of the film, it's obviously in. But then, I also included films in which our main character is explicitly shown to be part of the LGBTQ plus community. So in all, that left me with 8 films for this ranking, which maybe doesn't seem like a ton of films, but it's a pretty great accomplishment, seeing as how mainstream and wide released at least one of these films was. But I know there were plenty of other big films, really buzzworthy films, such as things like Hearts Beat Loud, that I personally did not see that might have qualified for this. So leave me suggestions to check out or other films you saw that fall under the LGBTQ plus umbrella. I'd love to check out some suggestions that you all have for me. But without further ado, here is my personal ranking for the 8 LGBTQ plus films I saw in 2018. So coming in at number 8, I have Bohemian Rhapsody. Enjoyment factor was definitely high with Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought it was a lot of fun, mostly because of the musical segments, though. It was when it had nothing to do with Freddie Mercury as a person, when it had to do with Freddie Mercury as an entertainer. That's when I was enjoying myself the most with this film. However, when it came to Freddie Mercury's sexuality, that was my least favorite part of the movie itself, and that's why undoubtedly it had to be ranked last place on this list. Freddie Mercury, while in the public eye, was known to have long-standing relationships with both men and women. In the public eye, he was with a woman after he had pretty much been rumored and known to be with men, and that was after the long relationship we see in the film with the woman to start things off. And the film pretty explicitly shows that he loved this woman. So, slight spoiler alert, I guess, but in the film, the line in here that explicitly really irritated me as a person of the community. Freddie Mercury sits his wife down and tells her, "I think I'm bisexual." And she says, "No, you're gay." She explicitly tells him, "You're gay." And the film then takes that as gospel and runs with it. It then makes it out to be a closeted gay situation. This is some of the most egregious, just out there bi-erasure I have ever seen. And that's really a shame when bisexuality as a sexual orientation is attacked, if we're being honest, from both the gay side and the straight side, homosexuals and heterosexuals. Nobody wants to accept bisexuality as a valid orientation, as a valid way of feeling, as a valid way of living, expressing yourself. So this straight woman in the film gets to dictate to this man what his sexuality is, and the filmmakers are going to take that at face value. From there, he proceeds to act like some stereotypical type of gay over-the-top extravagant parties, when by all accounts from his fellow band members and friends he was actually pretty introverted and a lot more shy when he wasn't on stage. It wasn't the persona given in the film. Not to mention, we very rarely actually see full-on encounters of him with men. It's kind of like, it's a lot of implications throughout the film. And then, of course, we get more explicit stating of the sexual orientation. But I think it all just was handled very poorly. It was very black and white. There was no real nuance to how it was depicted. And I think that was a huge disservice to Freddie Mercury and to, in particular, the bees within the LGBTQ plus community. At number 7, I have Alex Strangelove. So this cute little Netflix teen rom-com was pretty just easy breezy, fun filler type of watching. I do also think that this film really straddles the line of bad stereotyping and what are we saying here? What are we doing with this messaging regarding sexual orientation and what it means? However, ultimately, I think the heart is in the right place when it comes to Alex Strangelove. Unfortunately, there was just a much better teen rom-com dealing with a similar situation that came out this year that really kind of bumped this one down a bit. We have this like terrible best friend side character that I was annoyed by from the get-go. And some not wonderful development in the character department, but it was what it was. It was cute for what it was, and that's why that's at number 7. At number 6, I have Bex. I believe this was technically a 2017 release, but it didn't get a release here where I am until early 2018, so it's getting included here. And I think this was a solid film overall. We have a really complex main character that works very well with Bex, and I love most of her character and how damaged she was. I thought she was very funny. She's kind of a cool person, and I think that they have a lot of complexities to sexuality that we don't typically see. But my main problem was, I think what Bex does at the end of this film was really terrible. Almost unforgivable to me as an audience member, and it really did dampen my overall enjoyment of the film. Yes, we had established this layered, complex character, but oh, it's really hard to pull off having the very end of the film be where they commit something pretty crappy. And that's why it only gets up to number 6. At number 5, I have Disobedience. Now we're getting into the stellar films. Now we're getting into the really good stuff. And it starts off with Disobedience. I think this was I really do think this was a beautiful film. Speaking of nuance and really multi-layered performances and characters, both Rachel Weisz and Rachel McAdams are fantastic, as is our male lead in this film, who is also really great. And what I love is that he's not villainized. As we begin to learn of this past, as well as budding relationship between the two Rachels, you would expect him as a rabbi, as a church leader, to become this villainized character, and he's not. He stays human, he stays grounded, and you feel for him right along with feeling for both of these women. And I think that's a huge accomplishment on the filmmaker's part, to really invest us in all of these people and make us like all of these people and want what's best for them all. For me, I don't know why Rachel McAdams is not being seriously considered for supporting actress in more circles, because she is so amazing in this film. I don't know that I've ever seen her better than I've seen her right here. Rachel Weisz is wonderful, as she usually is. And again, it's just a fair film. It's a very fair, real look at the church and sexuality, how those mingle, how those overlay. It's a lot about a woman coming to terms with her father and her father's death, as well as her past. I have to say, I really did not like the sex scene in this film. I'm going to go off and just say that right now, mainly because I thought it was gross for no reason. And unfortunately, I think that that's a stereotype within LGBTQ plus films in general, is that when we get these sex scenes, a lot of times they add in some like crazy mess just to do it. Trust me, I know a lot of lesbian women. Okay, I'm friends with a lot of lesbian women, and none of them just spit into each other's mouths like that. I mean, do what you're gonna do, but it felt really gratuitous and weird for no apparent reason to me. And I do think it's a bit slow in places. It's a bit stagnantly slow, where we're not getting real breakthrough development with our two leads. But it gets there in the end. It hits on an emotional level by the end of the film. And again, that Rachel McAdams character is just so amazing. At number 4, I have Boy Erased. What an important film, along with another film yet to come on here, speaking on conversion therapy camps for gay minors, is still so important when you realize well over half of the United States still lets it be legal for you to just put your kids into torture camps. And that's absolutely sick and disgusting, and we need to continue to talk about gay conversion therapy until it is rightfully nationwide banned. Now, speaking on this film in particular, I think this acting is so good. Some of the best acting performances I've seen in film all year long from all three of our main leads. Lucas Hedges is amazing. And he's given really good performances all over the place, and I think this is right up there with the best of them. Nicole Kidman is fantastic in this film. She kind of steals the show for me personally, and even from the moments we first see her, there's so much going on that it really was a beautiful performance to watch. Russell Crowe is the best I have seen him in a long time. He's so good in this movie. As is Joel Edgerton, as is my boy Troye Sivan. He's so good. Everybody is fantastic. And especially upon watching it a second time, it really was an impactful watch. It really does pack that emotional punch that you hope will be packed into a conversion therapy film. It's emotional. It pushes it just enough into the forefront and into your face regarding the atrocities of this conversion therapy to get the message across, but it never felt overwrought to me personally. My biggest problem here with this film is that I definitely feel it was from a straight male gaze. What I'm saying is that I actually don't think we have like a legitimate gay kiss even in this entire film. We don't see two people of the same sex giving each other an actual kiss ever. We see like a kiss on the shoulder. We see sexual misconduct, if you call it that. But we don't see moments of true tenderness between any people of the same sex. Our main character never gets that. And I do have a little bit of a problem with that in 2018 as we continue to move forward with these type of films. I think we should really be past that. If I'm being honest, if you're going to make a film and you're going to put romance in it, whether it be a straight, a gay, whatever, a transgender story, then you need to show that love story, and I don't think this film fully realized that. But other than that, I think it was pretty fantastic. So, number 4 it is. At number 3, I have The Miseducation of Cameron Post. The second film to deal with conversion therapy, but this time with a female lead. This did heavily remind me of the serious version of the camp classic, but I'm a cheerleader. But it's so good. Chloe Grace Moretz is fantastic in this film. I absolutely loved her, as is really, again, all of our cast. They're all so good. But I think this film was a slightly more effective version of Boy Erased. First of all, maybe because it's told by a woman. I don't know. She had more of a care, more of a touch, more feeling is injected. We get that warmth. We get these moments of same-sex love in the film and compassion and tenderness, and I think that is desperately needed in a movie that is so heavy and so down on the LGBTQ plus experience. Also really funny. It's also really relatable. Our characters are all really well developed. The script is fantastic. The dialogue between our characters is wonderful. It moves along at a really nice pace. There's not much that I think The Miseducation of Cameron Post gets wrong. Performances, direction, acting, everything here is rock solid. It just maybe didn't quite inspire me as much as my top 2 choices did. At number 2, I have Can You Ever Forgive Me? This film gets included because both of our main characters are part of the family. And it is explicitly shown between dates, between, escapades, whatever the case might be. Both characters are shown to be lesbian and gay. However, this film doesn't deal with sexuality even in the slightest. It's never brought up. It's never a main facet of what's happening. It just is part of the story. And I think that is so important and why this needs to be included on a list like this. Because we can't just include films that focus solely on the fact that you're gay. They need to focus on something else, and that needs to just be a part of it. And I think this film really showed how you weave that into a script. Imagine that, just like you do any other film. And this film failed, like every other, extremely well executed film of its type. Melissa McCarthy is absolutely fantastic in this movie. The film itself is amazing. The script is wonderful. The date that Melissa McCarthy goes on and that connection she has with this female character in the film is fantastic. Oh, it's so good. Her interaction with her ex-girlfriend is so good. Richard E. Grant is amazing in this movie. Oh, he's so amazing. And his flirtatious and little escapades with this boy he meets is so fun and so in character. It all just works amazingly well. If I were going on merit alone and which one I think is technically the best LGBTQ plus film of the year, this would be it. This is definitely the number one in that category. So how does it miss out on number one in this ranking video? Well, at number one, I have Love, Simon. Probably not a shock if you follow me on any type of social media. I saw this film 5 times in the movie theater. I loved Love, Simon. Now, part of seeing it 5 times was wanting everyone else in my life to go out and watch it, but also to support the first mainstream LGBTQ plus film financially in theaters to make it as much of a success as one person can try to change. And it was a financial success. It over tripled its budget, so it reached the goal. But on top of the cultural significance of finally getting a mainstream, wide-released LGBTQ plus film, we get it for an age demographic that needs this exact film. The teenagers who can't go see Call Me By Your Name would be highly inappropriate. See Brokeback Mountain, see Moonlight. Those films are not aimed at the younger generation who are going through that time that can be the most struggling time to find yourself as a human, nevertheless, as a person who doesn't fall under that straight category. And it's really well done. I think this is a fantastic coming-of-age story. It's one of the best high school films I've seen in a long time, since probably Mean Girls. The dialogue is so good. Our characters are really, really relatable. Nick Robinson gives an amazing performance, as does Jennifer Garner. Just a wonderful performance. Josh Duhamel is so good in this movie. Alexandra Shipp, everybody really is so fantastic here. It's fun, it's funny, it's sophisticated. It shows that same-sex love and compassion that I said was missing earlier in really fantastic ways. It gets into a teenager's head of thought processes and trying to navigate high school and navigate a sticky situation. The soundtrack was awesome. It had everything I want from a teenage coming-of-age film. It's amazing. And even upon 6th, 7th, millionth watch that I've seen with the film, I love it just as much each and every time. And that's why no other film could be number one for me personally when it comes to LGBTQ plus films of 2018. So that's it. That's my list, my ranking of the 8 LGBTQ plus films that I saw in 2018. What did you think of the films that I listed here? How do you feel about my ranking? And most importantly, how would you rank the LGBTQ plus films you saw in 2018? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!